Dun, 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 dun. I will be the first to say it. I called it. I was 100% right. In fact, well, actually, I predicted almost to this day that this would happen. If you remember, I made this comment earlier with my reaction to Leaving This World Behind, the previous song that released for this new STARSET album, Horizons. If you remember how Division's released, we had about 4 tracks, Anticipation, that were released prior to the album coming out. We had Manifest, Where the Skies End, Diving Bell, and Stratosphere in that order. I don't remember the exact time frame between when the tracks released, but I noticed something very interesting with this one. So again, we have about 4 tracks. Infected was the first, and that one came out months ago. And that was at a time to like, is this part of a new album, or is this like a single one-off track? It apparently is a part of the album. So it was a very early preview. But then we had The Breach that came out, I think about like probably a month ago at this point. And yeah, probably about a month ago. And then 2 weeks from that, we had Leaving This World Behind, which was the last track to come out. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, we got about a month left in terms of the time frame between when that track dropped and when the album is supposed to release, October 22nd. We have room for another track. If they wait about, halfway in between, we're at the 2-week point, which is what we've seen so far with The Breach and with Leaving This World Behind. So I said, maybe in 2 weeks, on October 7th or Friday, October 8th, we're going to be getting another track for Horizons. And look what we have. We have Earthrise. I was personally hoping for Icarus. I'm not saying this would be disparaging to the song, because this is definitely a first listen for me, but I don't know, just the idea of like, what does Icarus mean? I thought it was very interesting. I think it's like the 4th track on the album, but I'm fine with whatever. I love STARSET. This is a big music release month. We've had so far, there's a couple that it used to be bigger. We were supposed to have the BFMV new album, but that's, I guess, delayed by about a month. Trivium, I believe, is still coming out. And STARSET had to join the fray. So, of course, like October, I'm so excited for it. Like, all my favorite bands are getting new music. But STARSET especially, I've loved all 3 albums previously. I've covered STARSET, in fact, pretty extensively with Divisions on this channel. Because, again, notably I cover, like, movies and stuff. I don't tend to cover music. I've kind of wanted to save that for a separate endeavor, for maybe a different channel down the road. We'll see where that goes. But I made an exception for STARSET because, again, I covered Divisions pretty extensively, and they're kind of like a hybrid between the the cinematic and music space. Because, again, they got this whole sci-fi narrative that's just really interesting, actually. And they got a whole bunch of books and associated narrative pieces and comics. They're a really cool band. And again, I'm all for like alternative music. Stuff that people aren't normally listening to, at least in my space. I don't hear many people talking about STARSET. I keep trying to get them all hooked on it, but I don't know. Most people don't listen to music that I do. But some do, because obviously I know STARSET's got a legion of fans out there. Besides me, let's go ahead and take a look at Earthrise and see where this goes, and maybe where it falls into place with the different elements to STARSET's story. Again, like I said, I'm not the biggest know-it-all on the narrative. I haven't read the comic books yet, or I think the book that came out. So I'm still trying to get... I see some of the broad strokes, but for me, it's more so about the music. And again, I just love... I love STARSET so much that just... Oh, I couldn't be happier. Let's go ahead and take a look at this new track. We're going to listen to this first, I guess. Listen and watch. And we're going to talk about it more in my condensed review and plus watching the video together. Okay, here we go. Is this one going for the more pop direction?
I push my feet to the edge.
Much softer than some of the previous songs. Although the last couple tracks, it was a balance.
It's hard to say where all of it begins and
Interesting lyrics. I love all the space imagery, by the way.
But you had me from the vision. I never looked away.
It's very romantic.
I still fall for you like signs to the skies.
Ooh, are those like all the different colors we're gonna have? I love the background strings, by the way. You throw strings in their project, I'm gonna be a full supporter. background vocals are a nice touch. These are beautiful lyrics. I'm a visual person, so I just kind of see the scenes beyond what I'm seeing here. I'll tell you, definitely going forward, Dustin's range continues to amaze me. Just seems to get like increased, but just his vocal command is just incredible. This is nice. It feels very cinematic. I mean, I feel like I'm kind of like watching a movie, and this is kind of the soundtrack that just pops up.
I still fall for you like signs to the skies.
It's nice to see a track that is so reminiscent of the other projects that were released previously for this album, but it's slightly different. Each track just kind of has its own uniqueness. It's like all those logos.
So alive, like watching the Earthrise.
It's really beautiful. We was talking about like 45 seconds ago. That's a long track too. I'm anticipating the outro, but it's going to transition into different songs. That kind of got a bit dark. Let's see where it goes. I'm holding my breath. Like, we're going to go somewhere with this. Maybe not. Maybe it just carries all the way through. Yeah, maybe, yeah. We only got about 10 seconds left. Okay. So we don't have a transition to the actual... Or maybe we do. I don't know. They could easily plug something onto the previous album. Or not previous, the upcoming album. So that when you listen to the track... You know how it works if you're a STARSET fan. There's just those brief interludes that go off in different directions. For example, Leaving This World Behind had one that they didn't feature in the music video that they uploaded to YouTube. So it was different listening to the track where you're like, wait a minute, there's this whole piece to it I never heard. And it was actually very dark. It was really cool. Beautiful song. I'll tell you, in the back of my mind, because I'm sitting there thinking I have to go somewhere today, like about an hour, I'm already listening to how this is going to sound in the car. It's going to be a beautiful listen. I tell you, like, I pretty much turn my music up on full blast, and STARSET, at least Horizons, just sounds beautiful. I love this album so far. And again, it's a pretty loaded album. Granted, we have one track that's a bit of an introductory, but I still count it maybe as a track. 16 tracks. We have not had this many. The most we've had is 15, so we kind of got a little bit of a bonus for this album. But we've only heard about 4 tracks so far. Maybe 5, maybe, because I did cover the Imminent Briefing. And that might be an interlude. I don't know. We'll see about that one. But so far, I'm very impressed. And again, it's like, well, 12 or 11 more tracks we haven't heard yet. And it's only going to be coming out in about... I think we are at the 2-week point. As I said, let me confirm the date, though. Because it's the 7th I'm filming this, the 22nd. We only have about 2 weeks to go. I couldn't be happier. Beautiful listen. Like I said, with... I'm much more of like a hard rock metal person, and I appreciate the rock direction here quite a bit, but it's nice to have a balance. Divisions was an experiment in this way, because it was very much where the other two had been very rock-based, and yes, there were softer tracks with Transmissions and Vessels. Vessels is still my favorite by and large. We'll see where Horizons goes. Again, we've only heard about 4 tracks so far, and I think it's sounding really promising to me. But Divisions definitely went for more of a pop edge. They didn't lose the rock roots. For many tracks, it's actually pretty heavy, but there was a bit of it was a new direction, because there were a lot of tracks that were definitely softer. This, I think, and for me, I'm not saying it was bad, because I love Divisions, but for me, it's the harder tracks that have more of an appeal. This is a nice, like, hybrid between the two, where it's kind of like, again, it's softer. It's beautifully romantic, by the way. And not just to, visually, I'm sure, rein people in terms of maybe people who have the aspiration of going to space. Like, look at all the bedazzling imagery of, the planet or different surfaces of planets out there. But again, to juxtapose that with beautiful, like, romantic lyrics. Like, the song just is enchanting. What did he say at, like, one point? I still fall for you like suns do for skies. It's beautiful. Man, I read a lot of poetry, so that immediately appeals to me. I'm like, oh, this is just such a beautiful song. But again, to have that, STARSET's so effective at transitions in this way, where they jump from one element of a song to another. So you'll go from a much softer piece to a heavier like chorus to the song, and maybe the music will kind of carry through, and it will still have that heavier edge. It is much softer by comparison to some of the previous releases we've heard so far for this album, but it's very appealing. I love it, because again, it's a nice mix. But again, more so, I think it's a combination of elements here. But I'm very pleased with Earthrise. Now, like I said, I think this is probably gonna be the last track we get. I would honestly be shocked if they were gonna put out about 5. So I'm gonna say this is probably the end for Horizons so far, but I've really enjoyed covering it. I can't wait for future developments with STARSET, and of course, if this is your first exposure to STARSET, you've got how many of our albums to listen to. Go through Transmissions, Vessels, Divisions. I'm sure they'll get you even more hyped up than at least I am already, if somebody's listened to all 3, including maybe you can say Vessels 2.0 as well. That'll get you really hyped up for the new album. I'm telling you, those albums, I love STARSET. They're so good. And really, anything Justin Bates has done. Also, if you want to look at some of his other work, Downplay, earlier band, MNQN, much more electronic-based, but he's a very talented musician, and STARSET as a group, I'm still so enchanted by them. And that does not fall away. Even 4 albums later. What are your guys' thoughts? It just continues to grow. But what are your guys' thoughts of Earthrise? Let me know down below. Don't forget all that stuff. Like, subscribing, the sharing, and that bell. Until we get to watch more, maybe from STARSET, for maybe, I don't know, maybe there'll be something for Horizons. I have no idea. Again, I'm going to assume it's just the end of it. But maybe there's a future album at some point, whenever that happens to be. Although, of course, there will be, I'm sure. I will see you guys for a point that happens to be. But for now, thanks for watching this video. I love you guys. Don't forget to love, subscribe, fellow man. God bless. And peace.